more and more, it's becoming a young man's game. And Bobby Blizzard got off to a late start. He was 32 years old when he landed his first coaching job in college football at Division III McMurry University. That's how old Lane Kiffin was in his first season as head coach for the Oakland Raiders. 6 years later, Blizzard looks to be on track as Hampton University's newly hired wide receivers coach. No less a source than Hal Mumme, father of the air raid offense, sees Blizzard as a brilliant offensive mind. He's cut out to be a coordinator, said Mumme, who coached Blizzard at Kentucky and hired him at McMurry and Belhaven University. It's a great game day play caller, and those guys are rare. People will figure that out soon. The reason Blizzard began coaching later than most is because he spent 4 years in pro football, either stateside or overseas. A back injury derailed his progress, so he retired in the early months of 2008. He was only 28 and unsure what his next chapter would be. Blizzard put his degree in sociology to work and became a high school counselor. In 2010, he joined the coaching staff at Keycoughton, just 5 miles down the road from his old stomping grounds at Hampton High. His goal was to coach on the college level. So when Mumme offered to hire him as McMurry's receivers coach, Blizzard didn't even ask how much the gig paid. He didn't even visit the Abilene, Texas, campus. After 2 years, he followed Mumme to Belhaven, Miss University in 2014. In his final 3 seasons, Blizzard was Mumme's primary play caller. Belhaven averaged 388 passing yards and 28 points a game last season. And last winter, he was hired by Robert Prunty at Who. He might have been late getting started, but Blizzard knew it was his calling. When it became my time to be a coach, it was a no-brainer, he said. I knew what I wanted to do ever since I was a kid. You could say it's in his blood. Blizzard's father, David, coached junior varsity basketball at Hampton and then varsity at Phoebus. I have memories of being 5 years old and in the gym watching practice, Bobby said. That was my earliest memory of what coaching is all about. I was one of those kids who was mentally ahead of everyone because I had to go home with this guy. Kenneth Silver, Daily Press. Bobby Blizzard celebrates Hampton's 1996 state championship in the mud. Bobby Blizzard celebrates Hampton's 1996 state championship in the mud. Kenneth Silver, Daily Press. Blizzard played high school football for Mike Smith and basketball for Walter Brower. Smith, the Crabbers' head coach since 1971, has won 482 games and 12 state championships. In 2015, Brower stepped aside with 589 victories and 3 state titles. From there, Blizzard went to Kentucky to play for Mumme, whom ESPN's Kevin Van Valkenburg called the most influential coach of the last 20 years. 3 future head coaches were on his staff: Mike Leach, Washington State; Sonny Dykes, SMU; and Chris Hatcher, Samford. All of those guys played a huge influence on me, Blizzard said, because that's what I was around. Bobby Blizzard remains a familiar name in the 757. With the incomparable Ronald Curry, he won 3 state football championships, and 1 in basketball, as a Crabber. He was a 6'6", 240-pound tight end who averaged 21 yards a catch and scored 7 touchdowns as a senior. College recruiters were so persistent that Blizzard's mother made him get his own phone line. After originally committing to Virginia, along with Curry and teammate Darnell Hollier, Blizzard signed with Kentucky. He played 2 seasons before Mumme resigned amid an NCAA investigation. Blizzard then transferred to North Carolina. Going into his senior year, Blizzard was rated as one of the best tight ends in the nation. But before UNC's second game of the season, Blizzard went to sleep in a hotel room and woke up in a hospital bed. After a spinal tap, Blizzard was diagnosed with viral meningitis. He said he lost 40 pounds. After missing 2 games, he came back against NC State. "It wasn't pleasant, they beat me up so bad," he said. 4 weeks later, he tore his calf muscle against Clemson, which caused him to miss 2 more games. The NFL draft came and went without Blizzard's name being called. He signed with Pittsburgh but was released near the end of training camp. Over the next 4 years, Blizzard spent time with Arizona, Baltimore and Cincinnati. Twice, he made the All-Star team in NFL Europe. But each time, disc issues in his back led to being released from his NFL team. Blizzard played in a handful of games in the NFL but never caught a pass. In early 2008, only 28, he realized it was over. Daily Press Archives. Bobby Blizzard plays for North Carolina. Bobby Blizzard plays for North Carolina. Daily Press Archives. Then came the time off, during which he sat on my money and helped raise his daughter. Then came the counseling job in that season with Keekoughton. Then Mumme called. And then Prunty. Blizzard came of age when Hampton University football was at its best. Under Joe Taylor, the Pirates went 7-1, 2-2-1 from 1992 to 99. They made 4 playoff appearances, 2 in Division II, 2 in DI, but since Taylor left in 2007, who has gone 51-60 with no trips to the postseason. Prunty was hired to change that, and one of his first calls was to Blizzard. "Bobby's very knowledgeable coaching the wide receivers," Prunty said. "He's a technician. He believes in teaching techniques and fundamentals. He has a great relationship with his players. Bobby brings the total package to our wide receiver group. I couldn't be more proud of what he's done this spring." For Blizzard, it was not only a homecoming. It was a jump from D3 to DI. "It was the best thing that could have happened to me," he said. Despite the late start, or maybe because of it, Blizzard wants to go as far as he can as quickly as he can. And Mumme, the guy who took a chance on him 6 years ago, believes he can get there. "If you play 4 or 5 years in the NFL, you're that far behind in your coaching career," Mumme said. "But you have an advanced degree in the technique world. There's a lot of people who will put a premium on that. Since he got into coaching, it's been full speed ahead. I think he'll do really well there." Johnson can be reached by phone at 757-247-4649. Follow him on Twitter at @DaveJohnson.